I'm very pleased to announce Annette Chody. She's presenting 5 ways to grow your collaborative law practice online. Annette is an attorney with over 2 decades of legal experience. After leaving law, she worked for several large digital marketing agencies. She created a company named LawQuell, a full-service digital marketing agency that operates as an in-house marketing team for law firms at a fraction of the cost. We're looking forward to your presentation, Annette. You can take it away.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I absolutely love talking to bar associations. And so with that in mind, I'm going to start with the end at the beginning, which is that if you have any questions during the presentation, I'm going to be sharing my screen, so I won't really see the chat, but put your questions in, because at the very end, I will try to answer them. And then also, if you think of any questions later, which is like me, I always think of questions way after the fact. Feel free to email me. I'll give some contact information at the end. I genuinely want this to be something that is a resource for you. And so sometimes things come up later that you think about and you're like, oh, I wish I would have asked that. So I definitely want you to feel like my door is open, virtual door is open to anyone who would like to ask a question later. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. We're going to see if this works. Maybe, hopefully. And here we go. Present. Here we go. So, well, I've already gotten to the punchline, but that's okay. That's the way it works sometimes. So this is the 5 ways to grow your law firm online. The secret is that there's not anything special necessarily regarding collaborative law firms, except for the fact your branding will probably be very different than if you were an aggressive personal injury attorney or you're a criminal defense attorney, right? The branding is different, and we're going to get to that. What I always say is that 93% is a really, really big number. And that is the number of law firms that are marketing themselves online. It's almost everyone. At least they have a website. At least they have something. I don't know what those other seven, I don't know what those other 7% are, but it's like that dentist, right? That like doesn't recommend toothpaste. Who knows who they are? One is a really small number. I know we're all attorneys and we were told that there would be no math, but I promise that this is the end of the math lesson. So one is a really small number. That is the number of law firms you either own or that you are part of. So what we really want to do is get that one law firm to the very top of Google. And why is that even important? Why are even people talking about SEO and all of the things still? And the reason is because once Google notices your expertise and authority, they place you at the top of their search engine for free. So that is what you want. You want that organic traffic that is looking for you. Specifically with collaborative type of law, people don't usually make decisions on that based on an ad, right? They want to connect with their attorney. They want to kind of maybe feel like they know them and feel like they're going to be representing them well within all of the discussions. And a lot of times people will go to websites and social media accounts, LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, in order to get a feel of who that person is before they ever even reach out to actually call you. So you want that to be doing all of the work for you. I am an attorney of 25 years. I've been doing digital marketing for a really long time. Before that, I worked at the U.S. Department of Labor, Employee Benefit Security Administration. I did ERISA law, which is it's about as exciting as you would imagine that to be. So I think I definitely made a move in the right direction. I absolutely love what I do. My focus is on smaller and solo law firms. And frankly, when I worked for larger digital marketing agencies, I noticed they were very predatory. And these are my people, right? Lawyers are my people. And I noticed that they were being taken advantage of. And so eventually I just started my own agency in order to help law firms grow and be a resource for them. So the first thing before we get into anything is that when we define marketing, we have to look at whether there's organic marketing and versus paid marketing, right? And there's a place for both. There is a place for both in almost every practice area. So what I always say is, or paid advertising is if you put money into it, like Google ads, local service ads, meta ads on Facebook or Instagram, if you dump money into that, it's like buying an apple. You will 100% for sure probably get an apple. Some of them are going to probably have like worms in them, right? Like some of those paid ads are not really that great, but you will probably get some apples. But it's fast, right? The downside is once you turn that spigot off, it's gone. Organic marketing takes more time. That is like planting an apple seed. So it takes more time to grow, but once something is grown, it's like a tree. So you're getting fruit, more fruit for your original investment. And then you should be, if it's done right, get more and more fruit over the years, right? Like if you write a really exceptional blog post, someone mentioned special needs. So if you wrote an article on special needs within your practice area, special needs children or adults within your practice area. And it was just the definitive guide to the legal aspects of that. You may not get any clients, the day you publish that. But over time, Google would see that as an authoritative piece of content and hopefully continue to send you traffic. So that's the value between them. And also I usually say it's kind of like the difference between eating junk food and healthy food. Like the paid ads will fill you up and you won't be hungry. And frankly, they taste good sometimes, right? But the healthy food is what's going to sustain you for a longer period of time. And in most cases, the truth is it's some combination of the two that's going to get you the best results. So since we're talking about food and it's lunch, right? You're all having lunch with me. Let's just go all in on this metaphor and talk about the 5 ways to grow online, what the recipe is. The very first thing, as I talked before, is branding. Now, I promise you, I am not a woo-woo girl. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I am a rubber hits the road girl. So when I'm going to be talking about branding, I'm talking about something very specific that sets you apart from others. So wherever you go, there's always sort of like an outlier that you remember, right? And you want to be the law firm that is remembered. So how do you do that? So the first thing is to begin early, wherever you're at in the process. Just like if you don't already have a brand for your law firm, then you should get one of those. And this is going to be tough love. And I already love all of you, but I'm going to say something that you may not want to hear. And I have not looked at your websites, so this is not a dig on anyone. But if you have just a gavel and like navy blue as your background, you are blending in with the tens of thousands of other lawyers that have a gavel or a column, right? Or the skip. Where is my scales of, where is she? Scales of justice, right? So at the end of the day, branding is not just a logo. Okay. It is not just a font. It's not just a color. Your brand is really a connection that you make between your ideal client and the services that you provide. It's a relationship. It's communication. And so it's going to drive some people away. That's okay. They're not your people. And it should be attracting the people that you want. And again, this is not woo-woo, right? So there are some law firms. We had one in Arizona that he was a criminal defense attorney, and he wanted his whole website to look like crime scene tape, right? And it was effective, right? Because his person that is coming to his website is seeing that. Versus if you're a collaborative attorney or you do, mediations, or, we had a guardian ad litem once. That's going to be a softer type of messaging. It's everything. It's the content. It's the visual aspect of it. And the other thing is that you want to be really defining who your ideal client is. Who is that ideal client? Now, I know a lot of people say, when I say, who's your ideal client? They say, anybody with money. And like, I hear you, right? Like, I hear you. So let's just pause there. I hear you. But at the same time, we all have people that at the end of the day, they're like, you could not pay me enough money to work with those people, right? We have those people as well. So what you really want to do is think about, do a bit of an autopsy on who your ideal client has been over the years. Are they, are they from a certain geographic area? You really want to think, are they a certain type? Is a certain income level, right? There's high net worth divorces, whatever it is. So figure out who the people are that you like to work with the most that pay you. Okay. So the next is, what is your core message to them, right? If you're a kindler, gentler attorney, if you had a divorce in your family and that's what spurred you to start family law, okay? A great example that I have of this, there's an estate planning attorney that we worked with in Arizona, and she actually got out of law school and did all of the estate planning for her family. And she literally lost the family farm. So there was a farm in the family, and literally, because she had drawn up the estate documents incorrectly, they lost it. So at that point, she could have decided, well, I don't want to be an estate planning attorney anymore. I'm pretty bad at this. But she didn't. She doubled down, learned from all of her mistakes, and that has become part of her story. She says, I don't want anyone to ever go through what I've gone through. And instead of being that negative, it's now, wouldn't you want her as an estate planning attorney? You'd be like, for sure, she's not going to lose mine because she knows what it feels like. So there are also, of course, design elements to this. If you want to be seen as more modern, if you want to be seen as more traditional, right? There are design elements that you can incorporate into that brand. And then obviously at the end of the day, you can't just build it and they will come. You have to promote yourself. Now, for those attorneys that are working within a larger law firm or within a law firm where you don't own it and can't make these decisions, I'm going to just stop right now and say, you still can do this. You can build a brand within a law firm. It's called intrapreneurship. So instead of being an entrepreneur, you're an intrapreneur. So you're creating like a little mini brand within your practice area, within your law firm. Let me tell you why this is important. When you create yourself as a brand, if you ever decide to leave that law firm, hey, I'm not saying anything. Maybe you're not going anywhere. Maybe you're going to stay there for 40 years and get the gold watch, okay, and retire. I get it. But if you're not, if you're ever going to leave, I cannot recommend enough for both your current professional life to get clients, as well as your future professional life, if you decide to leave, to start branding yourself. Now, you may not be able to do that in terms of the company, but you can create a brand, a tagline of some sort, right? You can start creating blog articles on your company, on your law firm's website. If you're not allowed to do that, that's okay. I'm going to help you with that too. If you go and start posting on LinkedIn, okay, you can start developing a following and connections and a network. I'm going to say something else here. There's something that I think is absolutely the secret hidden gem of LinkedIn. So everyone right now, if you hear nothing else I say in this entire presentation, it is this. There's something called a LinkedIn newsletter. These are not articles that you write on your personal page. They are not posts. It is a LinkedIn newsletter. Anybody can create it. You want to create it from your personal LinkedIn account because people do business with people, not companies. And this is where you want to showcase your expertise and authority. When you create this newsletter, it's super easy to create one and it's free. You can create one for free. This is where it gets amazing. I had like 5,000 people on my LinkedIn newsletter. I did literally zero amount of work to get them. What happens is LinkedIn is pushing this newsletter and has for about 3 years now. So when you start your newsletter, it not only starts putting it out more for people to see, it also asks all of your connections if they want to follow you. And then it continually pushes you in front of people that are not your connections. But wait, there's more, just like the Ginsu knives. So not only are you showing up in your LinkedIn to people that you know and don't know, your followers, your subscribers, you may not know the emails of all of these people, but LinkedIn does. and your email newsletter shows up in their coveted email inbox. So that's what's amazing, is that you are getting eyeballs on you as the expert in your practice area. So again, you can tune out now. Maybe you've already tuned out. I don't know, but you're eating your lunch. But if there's anything you hear, I will tell you the most valuable and impactful thing that you can do that will bring you the biggest results in the quickest fashion would be a LinkedIn newsletter. So now you've got a brand, you need a website. Now, I might be talking kind of out of both sides of my mouth here because there are some people who can do something about this because they're a solo practitioner, and there's some people who can't. So if you can't do anything about this, if you can't do anything about a website other than potentially ask if you can write articles for the website that you can then link to on LinkedIn, right now you can just eat your chips. Okay, because like if you can, or you can still listen if you're planning on branching out and having your own someday. A website is not just virtual real estate anymore. Like we all know this, right? I'm going to just skip past the fact you need a website. It needs to be a WordPress website. I know that Wix is easy. I know that Squarespace is easy. The challenge with those websites is that they are terrible for SEO, even if they say they're not. Like they're promoting that they're great for SEO, but they are not. And so what happens is you invest all of this time and all this money into the foundation of a house that is shaky. Once you get a WordPress website that you own, you should always own your website. You should always own your website. This is a clear red flag. If any digital marketing agency asks you to build a website on a proprietary platform, you can do that. But just know you do not get it if you decide to leave them. Okay, so if you love them and you want to be married to them in perpetuity, okay, like forever and ever, amen, then go with them. But if there's any hint that you're not 100% sold, then just know that if you ever decide to leave them, you will have to create on your own and pay for an entirely new website. If you build one from scratch on WordPress, you will own that forever. And then you can zhuzh it up later, right? You can change the curtains and change the wallpaper or whatever you want to do, but the foundation of your virtual real estate will be solid. So you definitely want it to look appealing. You want it to look modern, and it's hard to just say what that is, but we all know what it is, right? We all know when we hit a website that looks like it was made by like a Commodore 64. Okay, am I dating myself with a Commodore 64? Maybe some of the kids here don't know what a Commodore, like it's old, like it's older than Apple. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is once you have a beautiful website, right, you want to make sure there are a few little things you can do to make sure that it's continually being optimized. One is check the speed of your website. I highly recommend you do this if you have a Wix or a Squarespace, and you'll see how slow it is. The way you check the speed of your website is there's just Google tools. Just Google that, website speed. And anything that loads slower than 2 seconds is considered slow. I know it's like we all have the attention span of a goldfish, right? But that's the truth. People will jump away. They won't wait for it to load. The next is, we're going to talk about this in the next section, but just so you know, Google is a fickle mistress. And so she's dating a lot of people. She's dating a lot of lawyers, and she has to decide who to put at the top of her search engine. Who's going to be her number one suitor, her number two or number three, right? So we just had Valentine's Day. So instead of giving chocolates and flowers to Google as the suitor of Google, she doesn't care anything about that. She cares about content. So she wants it to be really easy to pick you to put at the top of her search engine. There's a couple different ways to do this, and we're going to talk about this in the next section. Website pages that you must include an About Us page. I always recommend that you have some sort of image on your very front page that connects you with either, frankly, the very best is people, right? Like you immediately get a connection with someone versus some sort of, you know, some sort of image that you've gotten from the internet that could have copyright issues potentially with it, and also is just generic. Like, you want to show how you're different. So show you. Nobody else has a picture of you on their website. So definitely show you, or, you know, if you're in a specific city, you can show that, or the courthouse or something like that. You also have to include a practice area page for every practice area that you want to be showcased as an expert in. So it's not just family law, right? It would be divorce law, prenuptials, adoption. If you even want to go more granular, you could have a section on special needs, all of those things. And then within those larger sections of practice area pages, about us page, a fact page is really good to have. Is a blog page, which you want to be consistently updating and giving, again, instead of flowers and candy, articles to Google. And then, of course, you need to follow ethical guidelines. That's a whole presentation that I do in and of itself on the ethical guidelines of digital marketing. Every state is different, but the American Bar Association says that there's just certain things you can't say the word best, even though I know you are the best. You can't say best. You can't say that your results are going to be better if you hire an attorney, even though we know they're going to be better if you hire an attorney. There's certain things you just can't say. So just make sure, if you're writing the copy for your website or articles, or if you're having someone else do it, that you just make sure that it's following ethical guidelines. Okay, so this is, if you've ever played a video game, this is the side quest in the video game. This has nothing to do with necessarily building a website or anything like that, but it's a question I get asked so often that I feel like I have to address it. How do you get more 5-star reviews for your law firm, and why does it even matter? The reason that it matters is because those reviews of Google are on Google's platform. So Google immediately integrates it into your entire SEO, into your search engine, search everywhere optimization is really what we're looking at now. So how do you get more? Here are my very, very ethical tricks and tips for that. First of all, create something in your signature that allows people to do it. Like, how am I doing? Blah, blah, blah. Leave me a review. If you're willing to do it, right? Like, if you get a lot of people who are disgruntled, you know, maybe don't do that. The second thing is ask. Create a system, some sort of CRM, some sort of platform where you ask, and then if they haven't done it, you ask again. It's in the follow. It's in the follow-up, right? The riches are in the follow-up. So just keep asking. Most of the time, we want to leave a review for someone. We just get distracted, right, by all of the stuff. So don't take it personally. Just realize people are busy and just ask again. So you can have someone on your team, or you can do this. And then my next, I have two more. One is, if you have someone sitting in your office at the front, a receptionist or whatnot. Now, the ethical rule is that you cannot give anyone anything of value for a review, right? Like, not money, not like a free car wash, not like a 15% off coupon to Target, right? Like, you can't give anything of value, but you can incentivize your staff. So if you have people coming into a physical office and there are people there that are happy waiting, you can say to your receptionist, listen, if you get a review while someone is here, I'm going to give you a $50 gift card to Panera. You can do that. So now it's a win all over the place. They're sitting in your waiting room doing nothing anyway. Your staff member is getting a Panera gift card and you're getting a great review. And there's nothing unethical about that. The very last thing I will say is, if you're brave enough, you can make a QR code of the link to your Google reviews and frame it, print it, and you can do this for free. There are QR code makers for free, and print it off and frame it in your lobby or frame it in your office. And then that way you can just point to it and it's really easy. Again, this is if you don't have like a bunch of disgruntled clients. But if it's, you know, if you're working collaborative divorce, hopefully it's a more amicable demographic. So now you've got branding, you've got a website, and now here comes the huge part, which is content marketing. So as I said, Google, your actions towards Google are kind of like if you had a garden. So you can't just plant a garden. You can't just have a website. You have to continually plant things and then water them and then care for them. And if then something happens and they're slowly dying, revive them, right? And all of these analogies are perfect. You have to plant new seeds, create new content. You have to water the content you have, which is share it throughout all of social media. You have to, and then you have to revive it. Sometimes content gets a little stale, or sometimes content did really well, like it was on the top of Google, and now it's like on the third or fourth page. Now it's time to go back to that content and refresh it and add more, maybe add an infographic, a video, something like that. So most people at this point say, yeah, I know, Annette. I know I need to write content. People always tell me this. How do I do it? Because by the way, I'm a lawyer and I don't have time to like just be writing blog articles all day, sipping a cup of coffee, looking out of my window. I get it. So here are some ways and strategies for you to do this effectively. The first is you've got to come up with ideas. Use ChatGPT. Just do it. Just use ChatGPT and say, what are the top 20 topics I could talk about, and be really granular, that would interest high net worth, people looking for a collaborative divorce in this state, that, whatever it is, you're going to get some answers. Also, sorry, look at your competitors. See what they're doing. What are they doing? You can't copy. That's plagiarism, and don't do that. But you can recreate the wheel in the sense that you're like, oh wow, they wrote an article on special needs children. I'm going to write one, but I'm going to write one better. I'm going to have an infographic. I'm going to have a video about it. I'm going to write 1,000 other words on it. Frankly, also just Google what you want to be known for. And there's a section that says people also ask. There are your answers, because people are also asking for that. So use that to generate content ideas. Now, once you have an idea, you want to put in keywords. A keyword is actually a phrase. It's not just one word. So like special needs child would be a keyword, even though it's more than one word. And what you want to do is find keywords that are easy to rank for and that are searched often. And that's a bit of an art and a science. There are a couple of different things that I recommend. Keywords everywhere is so inexpensive. It's pennies. And frankly, I have put this up against very expensive tools that we use. I mean, listen, our tools are pretty powerful. They're nuclear, okay? But maybe you don't need something nuclear. You just kind of want to get a general idea. Keywords everywhere is great. It's a Google extension. Very inexpensive. If you're ready to level up a little bit, there are other ones. Ubersuggest is the one that is very user-friendly to figure out, and not very expensive. It's by Neil Patel. So after you have a topic and some keywords, now you're going to be creating content. I do not recommend that you use AI to create content. Why? Because we all know what it sounds like already, right? Like, can we all admit that we kind of can tell when someone has written something with AI? And you don't really know how you know, you just kind of know. So if we know, I can guarantee you that while Google doesn't really know yet, do not believe AI checkers. We used to use them for Lockwell. We used to use them, and then I would put in something that I knew was written by ChatGPT, and it would say, oh, that's a human. And then I would write something that I wrote, and they would say, no, that's not. I'm like, okay, these are awful, because they can't keep up with how advanced ChatGPT and others are. But I guarantee you they will start catching up. And it is much better for you to post content that is valuable and from your own perspective. People can just tell. They can just tell. Post at least weekly. My suggestion always is to batch content and then drip it out, do it over a weekend or whatever. It needs to be formatted correctly as well, because Google does not actually speak English or Spanish or German, it speaks Google. So it has to be formatted in a way that Google understands. That means that it needs to not all just be one big block of text. It needs to have some H2 headers, which are the second, like a title, right? H1, and then some H2 subheaders, some H3 subheader. Frankly, that's easier on our eyes anyway, as we're reading it. Needs to have great spacing. You need to drip those keywords throughout, put them in some of the headers, and then internally link to other places on your website. So Google has something to crawl. And then also link to external links. Don't worry, nobody's going to click it. Nobody ever does. But the great thing about external links is it's showing that you are linking to something authoritative. States.gov.org, state statutes, things like that. And this content is probably the crux of everything that you will do to grow. The other parts of branding and website, that's like the foundation. This is you starting to get really a digital strategy. So if you do this right and you create a blog post, again, we'll talk about special needs, right? And let's talk about special needs within collaborative divorce. Let's say that that's the article that you're writing. And if you write a really great article on that, that's about 1,000 words or more, you're going to have some separate subpoints in that, right? Okay, we're going to get to that now. Because, I mean, at this point, really, if you just stopped right there, I just want to say that this recipe, I know you're all eating lunch, this recipe is already amazing. Like if you just full stop right here, you're ahead of like so many other lawyers, but we're going to forge ahead because we're extra like that. So the next step is social media. So you've written all of this content and you can't just sit and wait for people to find it, right? You have to direct traffic into your website to showcase your expertise. So this helps on two different levels. It helps because it gets more traffic to your website, but the social media also showcases your expertise and authority to a wider audience. I'm going to show you how to work smarter and not harder. First of all, you're going to take the article that you just wrote. Every single paragraph is a separate social media post that is linking to that article. So let's say, you had the 5 reasons you should hire an attorney, collaborative attorney, if you have a special needs child in a divorce, whatever it is. Every one of those points is a separate social media post that is going to your website. You can put one out on February 1, one on March, one on April. It's all going to the same website, but you are strategically using the content that it took you forever to write, okay, to link to that blog post. Then here is, I guess this is the second thing. The first thing was the LinkedIn newsletter. Here's the second thing. If you are going to do social media, this is going to save you an astronomical amount of time. Go get a scheduling tool like Smarter Queue. It's smarter, and then Q is like you're in line, right? Like British, like you're in line, you're a British person, a queue. So Smarter Queue, there are other tools as well, but what these tools do they allow you to batch post and schedule social media out to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Google Business Profile. Did you know you can put posts on Google Business Profile? Well, you can, and they're awesome. Most people don't do it, and it's right underneath your reviews. So people are seeing them right there, showing your expertise and authority. It's like a little mini blog page right there on your Google Business Profile. And what Smarter Queue lets you do also is take that, post that you've created. You've taken all this time to write the article, all the time to write the post, and then there's a little box. And the little box says, schedule again. So you can have that go out again, that same piece of content on all the social media, on all of your social media, it can go out again whenever you want it. 3 months later, 6 months later, 2 weeks later, whatever it wants. And then you can set it and forget it. It's like a crock pot. So let's say you're creating this content, right? And you create these articles, and then you say, I want this article to show up again every 3 months. That same piece of content is going to show up on LinkedIn every 3 months. And by the way, I can already hear it. You're like, what if people have seen it before? Who cares? First of all, they haven't. Okay, they didn't. Probably you have a probably in 3 months, you probably have a lot more new connections that haven't seen it. Second of all, even if they did see it, they're not going to remember. Who would remember that? And third of all, if they do see it and they do remember, who cares? You're showing yourself as an expert in this area. This is the topic, special needs children, right? You're showing up again to say, this is important. This is what I do. So don't be afraid to post a lot on social media. So again, that's called Smarter Q. And now I want to talk about how you can repurpose this content even more. So you can take this piece of content that you've written, special needs children is what we've been talking about, and you can not only create a blog post about it, not only create social media posts for all of the social media platforms, you can also just take your phone, record voice snippets, and then put that over images. Now you've got like a little snippet, a voice snippet. You can create infographics with it. You can use AI to help you with that. You can also do an entire podcast on every blog post. I know somebody who does that. Hi, it's me. I literally take the articles that I write on my website and then I turn them into podcasts because people consume content in different ways. So now, on top of all of that, you can create a YouTube channel. While you're recording your podcast, you can have your video going. And now you've got a YouTube channel. And all of this is coming from one blog post. So I know it's a lot, and maybe you don't want to do all of it at once, but you can pick strategically what you would want to do that you would be comfortable doing that your competitors are not. And it all stems from having one piece of content that you are repurposing perpetually, if that makes sense. So here's like a little bit of some ideas of how you can repurpose this content. You're creating the micro content, the email list. You can use these articles and direct people to them on your email list if you have one. If you don't, remember that LinkedIn newsletter? You can literally copy your blog post and make it a newsletter on LinkedIn. Reuse it. You can do voice snippets and podcasts, and again, video, short and long form. Short form video is huge. We all know that. So you can just video something about special needs children within a divorce, or something about why you should choose a collaborative divorce, collaborative attorney, or anything that you're doing, right? Any practice area, and post that, and you're getting it all from the content you already wrote. The last step is paid advertising. So there are instances where paid advertising is valuable. The types of paid advertising, there's Meta ads, there's Google ads, there's local service ads. You can even do Reddit ads. You can do LinkedIn ads. I would caution you before you decide to invest a ton of money in advertising, which you have to pay someone to do, well, unless you can do it yourself, you still have to pay for the ad spend either way. And it can get really expensive. So my suggestion is whether you do paid ads or not, organic will never go wrong. You will never go wrong doing organic. And that's the reason I said everything I did at the very beginning, which is that it's so important to have organic. Paid advertising, there's not a one size fits all. I know that's a very lawyer answer. It depends. But what does well for family law is not going to do as well for like a bankruptcy attorney, right? Or for a tax attorney or business attorney, all of that. So these are available. They work. But even within a specific practice area like estate planning, family law, whatever it is, it really depends on what your goals are to see and who you're trying to attract, right? It all goes back to branding. Are your ideal clients on Facebook? Are your ideal clients searching Google? So that will help you make this decision on advertising as well. So at this point, if you've done everything that I've said, Google loves what you're cooking and is going to put you on the front page. Now, this is, oh, why is it not showing up? Oh no. Why is this slide not showing up? It's a super important slide. Okay, this is a super important slide, you guys. This is, I will tell you this, if I get the, I tell you what, I think I sent this presentation in an email, and I'm not certain why it's not showing up. This was a bonus slide, and hopefully Melissa or they can get it to you, hopefully. This slide is, if you ever make the decision to go hire a legal marketing agency, these are the top 10 questions you need to ask and sub questions within that. The reason I think that this is so important is because, like I said earlier, a lot of legal marketing agencies are very predatory, but some are great, right? Some of my colleagues in my industry operate with integrity. I'm not the only one that does that, right? Like there are a lot of my colleagues that are honorable and trustworthy, and I would happily refer clients to them. But I think if a law firm is going to make the decision to hire a legal marketing agency and do everything that all the aforementioned things that I visited about, I think that that partnership should be undertaken with, just a lot of knowledge. So these are very granular, like there's 10, but within there's sub questions that you should be asking. So hopefully Melissa or Lenore can get those to you. In the end, this is my QR code. So if you would like to schedule a Zoom call with me to visit more, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to do that. If you would like to, I'll put my email in the chat. Let's see. And if you don't want to do that, if you want to just email me, you can just email me. So let me go ahead and stop sharing this now. And hopefully, were you guys able to see that slide? You weren't able.
I could see it, but it was like blank in the slide.
That is so crazy. Well, I will get it to you. I will get, because I think that that is really important that, even if someone isn't ready now, in 6 months or a year, or 5 years, or whenever they're ready to consider hiring a digital marketing agency or looking for proposals for that, that these are some excellent questions to ask to make sure that the predatory nature of a lot of marketing agencies goes, is kept in check. So, okay. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Let me know, does anyone have any questions?
I had a question about the LinkedIn newsletter. Is that some like an article you could write that you just post on LinkedIn? Is there a specific place to post it on LinkedIn? I didn't quite follow where it appeared.
Yeah, so you can just Google like how to start a LinkedIn newsletter and it'll show you the steps. But basically, when you go to LinkedIn, you know how you have like write post or whatever, there once you create a newsletter, there will be an option there to write a newsletter. And then that goes to not only your audience, but other audiences and shows up in an email inbox. Unlike just a post you would write on LinkedIn. That just goes, through that specific algorithm. And my suggestion is if you're writing blog posts, that you just have them do double duty and you just copy and paste those into LinkedIn and make them a LinkedIn newsletter. That's what I do. If you have a problem figuring it out, Lisa, just email me and I'll help. We'll just jump on a Zoom call. I'll help walk you through it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely.
And so just to confirm along with that, any profile can create a newsletter. It doesn't have to be like a business page or anything like that. It can be your personal profile.
You
right?
want it to be your personal page.
Okay.
Because here's the example. Like I have like 22,000 people, I think, following me on LinkedIn, and Lockwell has 400 because no one follows companies really. I mean, it's important to still have it, right? Like you need to still have it. You need to still have it there. But at the end of the day, you're making connections with people. So you want it to come from your from your newsletter. Also, if it comes from your company, like even if you said the exact same thing, it sounds salesy, right? Like, hey, like I'm the company, like buy my stuff or whatever it is, buy my services. So if it comes from you, it seems more like, and that's where connections are made, networking and both professional and friendships, right? So all of that.
Thanks.
Anyone else?
Annette, David Miller, I have a question about SEO optimization.
Yes, sir.
I have a WordPress website, and I very much need SEO optimization done on it. Something I can't do. I mean, I go into my website and I don't even know what I'm looking at. I mean, I can write a blog and I can put those words in, but other than that, I can't mess with the title page or the photographs. I can't do any of that kind of work. I do have someone who does that kind of work for me, but they don't do SEO work. And I'm being told that if I want SEO work, that I should probably just go to my hosting company and pick somebody there, which is a company called iPage. And but I don't know. I want to find somebody locally. I mean, I'm like everybody else. I get bombarded with like probably 10 emails a day about SEO optimization.
Yeah.
Hire me, hire me, hire me. I'm so sick of them.
I know.
And I just don't know who to
I
call.
apologize for my entire community. Okay, so a few things that you've said they are great questions. The first thing is I don't know this iPad, I don't know this page, I don't know what that company is. I've never heard of them, but that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter if someone's local or not. That should be that's not even in the list of my questions that you should ask as a lawyer. You should be asking if someone has expertise in legal marketing and legal SEO. Here's the reason. If you're doing, let's say, family law, maybe you're not doing you guys are collaborative, right? So let's just say estate planning. Maybe you don't do probate. Maybe you don't do, right? Like personal injury. Well, do you do med mal? Do you do, these are the questions that regular marketing agencies, they don't know. They don't understand it. Also, they're not legally accurate. I'm going to just say it. If someone is not a legal marketing agency, they're not going to be able to create accurate legal content for you, right? They're not going to understand statutes of limitations. They're just not going to understand that you can't say the word best, that you can't say the word expert, that you can't say certified, right? Like there's just so many you can't say expert, but you can say experienced, right? Like there's so much within legal, like there's marketing and then there's legal marketing. And so I highly recommend that I don't know this company, but I always recommend that no one ever go, if you're a lawyer, do not go to anyone who is not a legal, you don't have to go to me, but don't go to anyone who's not a legal marketing agency, because not only will your content and your SEO not be legally accurate, it will not be ethically compliant. So my suggestion for you is like the slide that's most important that didn't get shown is like totally the one you need, David, which is, so hopefully we can get that to you. And that's going to have all of the questions. And, for example, I really tell people to if you're going to spend money, you need to put their feet to the fire and say, well, let's say I'm a family law attorney and, they give you a bunch of adoption art. You're like, wait, I don't even do adoption, right? Like, yes, I'm family law, but I don't do this, whatever it is, right? We had an estates and trusts lawyer and they did not want to do gun trusts, for whatever reason. That was just their positioning. So it's got to be someone that even understands what a trust is, let alone the fact that there's like a special needs trust and a gun trust and a, whatever, pour over will and all of these things. And when you're talking to someone and they can't understand what you do, then how in the world can they market for you? And how in the world can they market for you and be ethical and be under the ethical guidelines of the ABA? So my suggestion to you, David, would be to talk to some legal marketing experts that are in legal SEO and legal marketing. Did that help?
Okay. Yeah, that helps. that helps for sure.
I'll tell you, these marketing companies, you're absolutely right. They're totally predatory, right? They're great salespeople. Like, I will give them that 100%. They are fantastic at it. And then, you know, what happens after that is usually not always, right? But sometimes challenging. So that's just what I would recommend. So is that you visit with people that are either attorney-based legal marketing agencies or have been doing legal marketing and can answer, just make sure they can answer your questions about what you do legally. And if they can't, how can they market for you?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. If you ever have any other questions, just email me.
Well, thank you so much. Great presentation. I think everybody enjoyed it, so I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. I love speaking to bar associations and specifically helping small and solo law firms that are feel oftentimes at a disadvantage because they don't have the investment capacity that the larger law firms have. But I'm here to even the playing field. So
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
sure.
All right, everybody have a good month if I don't see you before next month, and take care. See ya.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.